boy's body was found floating down an irrigation canal 15 miles from his mother's apartment where he disappeared. That young man now tentatively identified as the beautiful boy you've been looking at on the screen there, 8-year-old Robert Manwill, missing 11 days. Now, that same canal winds its way to less than half a mile from Robert's mother's apartment where he disappeared. He was last seen there about 11 days ago. The body's location 2 miles from a home whose backyard was searched by cops over the weekend. The big question, how did the boy's body end up at that spot? Was it dumped there? Did it float there? Bodies have been known to float for weeks and travel as much as 14 miles along that very canal. Mike Gaynor, if that's the case, wouldn't that body have been spotted a lot sooner? Is it more likely it was dumped there, weighted down, and then floated to the surface?
You never know. It could stay down for a period of time. It really depends on what else is in the water and how it's going to affect the buoyancy. It could pull it down for a while. It could come up later when the body fills up with gases. It's sometimes difficult to know and not unusual to find a body 10 or 12 days later.
Jennifer Washington, your question or thought, ma'am?
Yes, I guess you kind of answered part of it, but I was curious if they had checked in and around that canal by the apartment in the day that he went missing and the days after, because if he had gone in the canal that on the 24th, would it have taken his body that long to surface?
Dave Burnett?
Well, I guess the question is this. Yes, to answer the first question, it was searched daily from the time that he was reported missing. Everybody knew that canal was there. Tragically, sometimes children do drown in canals out in this part of the country. It's the way they irrigate the crops and fields in the area through these canals. The water is swift. The banks are difficult. They're wide. The water does move fast. My question was, there are lots of gates along these canals. Now, as I understand it, between where the apartment is and where the body was found, there is one what they call a body gate. If there is a drowning, the irrigation, the ditch rider can lower what they call a body gate, which is just a screen that goes over the canal to stop anything from
So
going
what
down.
you're saying basically is that it would have hit that gate had it been floating down from the mother's apartment.
If the gate was shut. Now, I don't know, and so far.
For the weekend, the man who lives at that home had a truck that cops checked out. Listen to this.
I was pretty devastated that my truck is being considered part of this. Whatever lead helps. I mean, I have complete cooperation with them because, yes, it's a little boy that needs to be found.
Wendy Murphy, this man says cops searched his home after bloodhounds picked up a scent on a Chevy Suburban. The man says his truck was stolen 2 days before Robert. This man's backyard, they're not saying what, if anything, they found. This man, coincidence, knows Robert's mom and her boyfriend, but says he has absolutely no idea what happened to Robert. So we asked Boise police, hey, did you get a missing vehicle report? They did not get back to us. What do you make of it?
Well, it could be that the truck was stolen and he really is innocent, and the reason it was stolen from him is because they knew each other. It could be that. Look, the point is not, how fast were the currents going and so forth. Cops were digging up ground and hunting in, water because they knew there was something very bad that had happened. They found evidence in the mother's apartment that made them say something tragic happened. The child may be hurt. I don't know what that means to you, but to me it seems like they must have found some blood or guts or something. And I hate to be so crude about it, but there's a reason they're digging up dirt and looking in water. So it doesn't really matter if they can put together a timeline or necessarily directly connect the truck, because what they're really doing is focusing on the fact that they found something very significant in her home. And by the way, she cracked the skull of her own child less than a year ago for a few days of home confinement.
Curtis Lee, the police in the news conference today said don't jump to conclusions. Were they referring to all the talk about mom?
Oh, of course, and it's not just mom, it's her boy toy friend who can't even go near the half-daughter. You have two people in the house who are not even permitted to go near two of the children who are in that house, and then this boy is ordered by a court because of a custody hearing to be able to stay with his mom in the summer. There's something wrong here. I mean, why was that boy allowed to go with a mother who can't even go near her half-son, who has a boyfriend who can't even go near the half-daughter?
Well, guess what, Terry Lyles? We're getting back to our original point.
Absolutely.
That what's happening in our country is that these agencies that monitor these children, these crucial agencies, every time we cover a story like this, Child Services always seems to be missing in action.
Well, you think, you talk about being overwhelmed and overtaxed and stressed, and I mean, they've got to be under a lot of pressure. I don't want to indict them alone, but you know what? This is a huge problem, and it's getting worse and worse. And until that system is corrected to help monitor what parents can't do on their own, unfortunately, this is going to continue, and that's a tragedy.
Past behavior is the best predictor of future behavior.
Absolutely.
It is. A missing woman, and we're going to talk to her devastated mother next.